Is the U.S. military draft coming back? No, but it could. Let's talk about it. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the U.S. House passing a bill that automatically signs young men, XY chromosomes, specifically men aged 18 to 26, up for the U.S. military draft, or to be more specific, they're automatically signed up for selective service. Now, in case you don't know what this is, maybe you're not an American, maybe you're not 18 years old yet, maybe you're a woman and you've not been told about this, let me explain. Now, back in 1917, before World War I, there was a need to meet a certain number of men in the force to fight these upcoming battles. But since they were a little bit short, they didn't quite have what they needed, they introduced selective service. So you got to have this sheet of paper, sign it out, fill it out, and that will give the U.S. government a record of all war-aged citizens. So they would take from that registry and draft you from that. Now, obviously, I think 1973, the draft was done away with right at the end of Vietnam War. Not at the very last day, but right toward the end. I think they said Saigon fell, 1975, whenever that was. So right toward the end, near the end of Vietnam, they did away with the draft. However, they kept selective service. So in case they need to push that button, in case, the Taiwan, South China Sea kerfuffle gets kind of crazy, in case Ukraine gets a little bit out of control, maybe even Israel, they can push that button and activate extra bodies to go fight, or really to go get deleted. That's probably what's going to happen. So the draft is not coming back, but it could. And now, rather than filling out the sheet of paper voluntarily, quote unquote voluntarily, because it is required, if you don't fill it out voluntarily, it could be a felony, and you probably won't go to jail. Maybe you might not go to the penitentiary, make big rocks, little rocks for not signing up, but you're not able to get certain benefits and jobs. But aside from that, now they're saying, okay, we're automatically going to sign you up for it. So if we need you, we're going to come get you. Again, age 18 to 26. Now, previously, the requirement was 18 to 24. So they're trying to widen the pool in case they need your young men to go out on the front lines and get deleted. Or maybe you might be in that age group. Congratulations. In your lifetime, they could activate it. It'll take a serious emergency for that to happen, but it could. Now, Cardi B, the philosopher, the 5,000 IQ person, said something about it. I want to play what she said because I want to just kind of go through this to address some of what she's saying. I'm not saying I really take what she says seriously at all, but she raised some questions that I've been hearing from regular people about this as well. So let's go ahead and roll it.
So I just read an article saying that the House just passed a bill that they're going to automatically register men from 18 to 26 for war.
Well, like I said, for the draft, for selective service, which could be used in case they bring the draft back, in case we are faced with a crisis, with a war that there's not enough men for.
Okay? And all I want to say is to America, good luck with that. These new little TikTokers, baby, these motherfuckers ain't going to fight no war. We're going to die. You're going to die.
Well, you're correct that a lot of these young guys, some, not all, are not going to try to fight. They're going to want to be on TikTok. I mean, most people don't really want to fight a war. Let's be clear. Regardless whether you playing TikTok or lumberjacking, ain't anybody really trying to fight for real. But you said it right there. They're going to get deleted. Yeah, you're going to be cannon fodder for the front line. Absolutely. If it comes down to it, which I'm not sure I see that in my lifetime, but it's possible to happen.
You might as well just keep investing money in your guns, because these new kids, you want to send these new kids to fight these wars? The TikTok hip shakers, out of your mind. This is a new America, baby. This ain't the 19 motherfucker. Nah, like seriously, you're gonna draft these kids that be TikToking all day to fight them, what? Most likely what? Them Russians? Them motherfuckers that be fighting bears and shit? And motherfuckers climbing mountains to go to school and whatever?
Yeah, yep, you're absolutely right. She's saying what she's saying is right. Say you're gonna draft these kids and go fight these Russians and be fighting bears and climbing mountains to go to school. Yeah, absolutely.
I got some news for you, motherfucker. So
that's what's going on. She's kind of in disbelief, and I don't blame her. I don't, but this most certainly could happen. It is real. I understand that some may not really want to hear it, but it's real. Now, it's just a bill that's passed the House, okay? We've not gotten to the Senate yet, and it's not gone to President Biden to become law. So this might not even pass, all right? Now, you see the headline here. House passes defense bill automatically registering men 18 to 26 for the draft. The selective service is already mandatory for male citizens, U.S. male citizens aged 18 to 24. And it says the House passed a measure on Friday automatically registering men ages 18 to 26 for selective service. It was part of the National Defense Authorization Act, NDAA, which sets out the U.S. government's military and national security priorities over the next fiscal year. This year's NDAA authorizes $895.2 billion with a B, nearly $1 trillion in military spending, a $9 billion increase from fiscal 2024. All right. While it hasn't been invoked in over half a century, it's mandatory for all male U.S. citizens to register for the selective service, also known as military draft. When they turn 18, failure to register is classified as a felony and comes with a host of legal challenges. Supporters of the amendment argue that it would cut down on bureaucratic red tape and help U.S. citizens avoid unnecessary legal issues, as well as cutting down on the taxpayer dollars going toward prosecuting those cases. Yeah, so basically they're saying having people automatically do it, it just kind of makes sense. I think back in 1917, it wasn't as easy to automatically do this. Everything was on the paper, because when I filled this out back when I was like at the end of high school, I think, or right around that time, they gave you, it was an index card you had to fill out. And that's probably the same thing they've been using since 1917, but it's 2024. Everything's electronic. They already know who you are anyway. It's like filing taxes. They already know exactly what you made. Well, sometimes. I ain't gonna say all the time. A lot of times, like if you got a 1099 or you got a 1040 or something like that, you got a job and your job already reports to the feds. They already know what you made. It's a matter of, are you going to tell the truth or not? They know what's going on. You got payment apps, you got Venmo, Cash App. They know what's going on. So ain't no point in lying at that point. Okay. So yeah, but the NDAA, that's what's going to happen. They are automatically going to register you. And the supporters of it say it just cuts down on red tape, because if you don't register, then they got to go find you and they might got to prosecute you, charge you with a felony for not filling it out. It's kind of an archaic system. Ultimately, I'm not a fan of the draft, obviously, although they said they've not said they're bringing that back. They could. Selective service, again, is a relic of the draft system. It was created in 1917 to draft people for war. It was for World War I. They didn't have enough of the volunteer force. It didn't quite meet their mark of the volunteer force back then, so they got selective service to shore it up. It would be the same thing here if they push that button. We have an all volunteer force right now, but if that's not enough and they need a few more bodies to put in there, these young men age 18 to 26, they're going to push the button and you out there. Now, as I close, I want to say this. What Cardi B said about the TikTokers and the hip shakers and whatnot, I mean, that's real, but it probably was, I won't say it was just as real back then. Obviously, times are much different today in 2024. People, I think, overall are much softer than they were back then. But still, I don't think people were really ready for war back then. Back then, the problem was probably nutrition. having enough food to eat. You got these kids or these young adults that's 21 years old that weigh 110 pounds. Okay, 130 pounds at 6 foot tall back then, because it was not so much food just laying around. So they probably weren't really built physically for war. They may have been better mentally, but not physically. And even back then, you had people getting shell shocked and having severe drug addiction when they come back. So it wasn't all sunshines and rainbows back then. War is war, regardless of what. But I think if, again, things really get squirrely and they need to push that button, they will do it. Although I don't see that happening anytime soon. And I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your take on the whole situation? Do you think that they will push the button and activate some troops with this automatic draft registration? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. This could happen, but it's going to take a lot. I'm talking about you got to have a U.S. city get hit with a nuke by some foreign adversary, China, Russia, or something like that. If something like that goes on, or if they tell us that happened, whether it's true or false, I'm not saying that this would ever be a false flag on the U.S. I would never say that, but I'm just saying if that kind of thing happened, whether it was true or false, that would prompt them to push the button. And that would be the case regardless of whether we were put into the draft automatically or if we did the whole index card thing from 1917. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.